another boundary walk in the great Abingdon on Thames. Our illustrious leader, Mr. Patrick Bird, will be giving you instructions and information as the tour progresses. We will be in the pub by 1 p.m. The broad face is normally the house of choice. So on this finest of New Year's mornings, I say to you, God bless Abingdon and God save the Queen! No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
Good morning. Like to come around a little bit. He ruled in Spain, but certainly Philip did rule here along with her. So in 1538, the Abbey was actually dissolved on the 8th of February 1538 by Henry VIII. At that point, before that, the Abbey was the key to the prosperity of Abingdon. So that was the absolute key. In that 18 years between the Abbey being dissolved and the boundary being set and Abingdon made into borough, there was a lot of poverty in the town and the economy of the town just declined completely. So there was a whole thing around setting the charter up, which meant that Abingdon was a borough in perpetuity until 1974, when they changed the boundaries and made us Oxfordshire, not Berkshire. Well, I can see this is going to be really good. Excuse me. So that was the purpose of creating the borough and creating the boundaries in 1556. Abingdon, being the capital town of Berkshire, is in great ruin and decay for want of repairing, and he's a bit like the roads now, really, but and he's very likely to come to extreme calamity if remedy thereof be not by us provided. So that was what was set in the charter, that they've got to actually do something about it. The council, and this is written into the charter as well, was to consist of 12 principal and 16 secondary burgesses. The former to be men of better and more honest and discreet type, while the latter shall be of the better, honester and discreeter men. I'm not sure what that actually means, but I think it just means you've got to be honest. As a politician. Right, okay, we'll move on rapidly. When the buns are coming down, the buns decay, and all you get is sort of this soup of bun. Gentleman here has asked permission to do a video which he wants to put up onto YouTube.
Back in the day, they held up their hats, you gave them coppers, they got drunk. Unfortunately, I don't think I can get away. I can get away with that this day and age. So at the end of the walk, I will be holding my hat. Feel generous, please give money. All money will be given to the Mayor of Abingdon-on-Thames chosen charities.
I would also like to welcome our Mayor, Councillor Charlie Burks, over here. There is, or was, a tradition in 1556 where the Chamberlain of the town would actually swim the river to identify the boundary.
Right, man.
So East St Helen Street is the oldest street in Abingdon-on-Thames. There are indications in some of the cellars going back to 1245, and certainly some of the houses here. We've got number 30, which is St Ethelwald's house, a little bit further down here. That's got a late 13th century cellar in it. Number 26 has been tree rig dated back to 1431, and actually Terry, our town crier, and his lovely family actually live at number 26. So the history is actually a living history, and Terry can actually go back to 1431. Sorry, mate.
They were simpler times.
They were simpler.
Plague, famine. Oh.
The King's Head and Bell, when it was created in the 18th century, it was actually called the Bell. Then it became the Old Bell, and it was only in the 1960s, 1970s that it went to the King's Head and Bell. Before that, it had been the Bell, the Old Bell. It then went to the King's Head and Bell in the 19th century because they wanted it to be associated with King Charles and coming in the Civil War, but there's no records that actually said he was here. But we like to think he was. So when the King's Head and Bell's just been recently refurbished, and there was a big furore on Facebook about the brewery wanting to call it the Old Bell. Well, that's pretty much one of its original names, so to take it back would have not really been a problem, because the King's Head and Bell only came back again in the 1960s, 1970s. So it's quite interesting how tradition and history sort of bang into each other at different times. The fraternities were all dissolved, and so the Fraternity of the Holy Cross in 1553 was reinstated as Christ's Hospital, which probably people will know about, and they still exist today and still have a lot of land in the town, and also deal with the almshouses at St Helens and various other things. And as we go through, I'll talk to you about that. Okay, everybody happy?
Yes!
Marvellous. Abingdon Drama Club has got a panto coming up in January. You'll be a magnificent audience. Oh, yes, you would. Okay. Please be careful of the road because traffic will come behind you.
Oh no, it won't.
Who said that?
It's behind you.
Walking to school. Every year, don't they?
Yeah, it is all on the website, yes. Cry a cry.
Cry a cry. Wake up the hungover people.
Wake up the
There we go. Brace yourselves, for those who've got hangovers, I am very loud. Oh dear. Oh yay! Oh yay! Oh yay! The Mayor of Abingdon on Thames welcomes you all to the Boundary Walk of 2020. For those who are nursing hangovers, good morning! Normally there's a few curtains switching by now. They've learnt. Just like to say, keep it short and sweet. God bless Abingdon. God save the Queen.
Thank you, Terry. We are now on St. Thank you. Ock Street. We're now on St Helen's Wharf, and you'll see a pub over there called the Old Anchor. We can date the Old Anchor on that site as being the 30th of August 1884, and its licence was actually given to it. In there you'll find a 17th century wooden range, which you can't see in the public spaces because it's behind in the private space. So it was created out of 3 houses and was moved from this side of the river, this side of the road, across there when Christ's Hospital decided to redevelop the whole wharf. So it dates back as a pub, but on this side of the road a lot longer than 1884. Well, that's where this one originates from. The wharf here was the source of all the income and the wealth of Abingdon at one time. This is where all the boats came in and where the money was made. That's why you could actually afford to build those beautiful houses on East St Helen Street, because that's where a lot of the merchants lived. So you'll also see behind you here Abingdon Bridge. That was also a massive source of income, because if you were taking sheep across or grain, they would charge you a toll. So it was built in 1416, and that was through a local initiative to build the bridge. And in 1441, the Fraternity of the Holy Cross were given responsibility for its upkeep. There are 3 bridges, and if you see, you'll see 3 arches there. Originally, in the original bridge, it was about 14 arches. But on the left-hand side, you've got what's called the Town Bridge, or the Hart Bridge, because it's called the Hart Bridge because there was a White Hart pub where the old jail now stands, and so it was the Hart or the Town Bridge. The middle bridge is Burford Bridge, and that comes from Borough Ford Bridge, and it's just made into Burford. So it's got nothing to do with the town of Burford, but it's just called Burford Bridge. On the right-hand side, on the southern piece, you'll see those cottages, Maud Hale's cottages. They're actually sitting in Culham, so they're not in Abingdon, they're in Culham. And the bridge, the Maud Hale's, the third piece of the bridge was put over marshy land so that the whole bridge could be used. And that was, the lady who did that was a widow of a big merchant, a mercer, and she helped to build that. Actually, she built it. The new bridge, including the whole of the River Thames, and to the aforesaid bridge of St Helen, called St Helen's Bridge, where to the said little stream of the Ock falls unto the Thames as aforesaid. And from thence, and by and through aforesaid little stream of the Ock, including the same little stream, unto the aforesaid bridge of the Ock, called the Ock Bridge! Yay! So you all know exactly where it goes now, don't you? So basically what it's saying, for those who've been to the Abbey locks, which we're going to visit, that's the last point on our journey. It comes from the lock, it comes through the bridge, it comes across the Thames. We've got a patch of ground on that side, which is still Abingdon, but if you get past the footpath there, it actually goes into Culham, so make sure you've got your passports. And we go right down the river, and we're going to come to the bridge down at the bottom here, which is now the Iron Bridge, which is the Wiltshire Canal Bridge. And then we'll come round and we'll end up catching the Ock Bridge. Yes, we're coming this way. Here by the Wilts and Berkshire Canal Company. So this bridge replaced the original 7-arch stone bridge that we've got here now. So this is where it's talking about. It comes through from the river and it ends here. So this is where Abingdon 1556 would have ended. Then we move through here into the church. Quick look at the almshouses. Then we're going to walk down the Ock River Walk. It may be muddy, we're not quite sure. So if you've got your high heels on, you might have a problem. Okay, so we'll go this way.
I did wonder how long it was going to take.
It's all right.
So Helen's Church, which is the oldest church in Abingdon, and it's quite unique in the fact that it is as long as it is wide. So it's quite unique in that. if after the walk you get the opportunity, going into St Helens and looking at by the Fraternity of the Holy Cross. And as the Abbey had the rights to burials, and St Helens was associated with the Abbey, they thought it was a good place to put almshouses. Because you've got good access to burial ground. There you go. So Twitties here, we have Long Alley and we have Brick Alley as well. The Twitties here was actually, there was a person who died in 1706. He was an official in the Exchequer and made lots of money. We are not asking the question how, but we'd like to know.
Yes, yeah. No, I was talking about it yesterday with my friend. Yeah. Wants to walk over. That she runs now. Yeah, she doesn't like to walk. And the rest is history.
When they last did that, yeah.
It's lovely today. Been here when we were...
I don't know yet.
Pete Green, who was a mayor at the time, and then got a group of people together, and it's pretty much now maintained by the Green Gym. So if you're interested in getting fit and keeping things bright and green, then joining the Green Gym, as you can see I do it, and it's a laugh. So we've reached the point of the Ock Bridge here, which is the oldest bridge in Abingdon. This dates back to Anglo-Saxon times. It has been rebuilt a number of times, but it is the oldest one that we have. So, another little thing from the Charter. And from the said bridge called the Ock Bridge, directly and by through the public way leading from the same bridge to a little close called Trinity Closes, and from thence by and through the common way leading by the aforesaid little hill called Barrow Hill into the aforesaid boundary and merestone without the aforesaid bars of the Bow Street, situate in the meeting together of public ways leading towards the aforesaid borough. Well, that seems to have gone well. So let's translate that a little bit. So the Ock Bridge, again dating back to Saxon times. Barrow Hill is the top of Spring Road, which we're going to get to as we walk through. Bars are gates of the Bow Street. Now Bath Street used to be called North Street or Bow Street from the Latin Borealis. Oh, I can do Latin. Which pertains to north or north wind. So all of this starts to direct us in a line up Spring Road, up towards Bath Street. We are going to make a slight detour because we're going to go through Albert Park rather than round the road. So it's just a bit more pleasant. It just cuts off a corner really. But we're sticking as much as we can to the boundary. We did used to have a lady who used to let us into her house, not a house but a garden, so we could see a boundary stone. Pardon?
I've been through the house.
Oh, you've been through the house, have you?
The Millennium Walk, we were allowed to go actually through the house. We were all paraded through Muddy Street and
So I correct myself at that point. Somebody who's actually been through the house into the garden to see the boundary stone at that point. I don't know whether that lady person still lives there or not, but I certainly don't think we've been given permission since. And probably that's the reason why. Take your boots off.
Although, I think that might be a little unrealistic now. For those nursing hangovers, good morning! Glorious! Come join us! We're going to hear the dog at 1 p.m. God bless Abingdon and God save the Queen!
Well, welcome to my house. I wish my partner's just gone home, so I can't stand it anymore. We do take a detour through Albert Park just to cut out the road a little bit, and with such a lot of people it's helpful to do that. On the west end of Abingdon, down at this end, there was originally going to be a railway come through here from Salisbury, but it was one of those speculative things. You know, we've never heard of it, have we? You know, what's that rail thing that's going up the middle of the country? Yeah. Anyway, bit of speculation going on. So Spring Terraces across here and down Winterbourne Road as well. That was really created, we think, as a hotel. So we've got some lovely houses here which were based on the probability or the possibility of that railway, and it didn't actually happen. So we come to the beautiful Albert Park, and this is where the town crier does actually now wake people up from a deep slumber.
Oh, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! On behalf of the Mayor of Abingdon Thames and his council, good morning! Happy New Year! How's the hangover? Wonderful! We are walking the boundaries of 1556. If you're awake and fancy a walk, why not join us? If not, join me in saying, God bless Abingdon, God save the Queen! Hooray! Wakey, wakey!
I would like to point out there is still in legislation in English law a law that says that anybody who hits, damages or abuses a town crier is therefore of a treasonous nature and can be hung, drawn and quartered at the courtesy of the Queen.
I'm sure she's too busy this morning.
Terry. Yes, so when we're in the garb, we are protected, and you could be created a treasonous act because the town crier is actually the sovereign's man or woman, and from our point of view now as town criers, we are the mayor's man at that point, or mayor's woman. So yeah, Charlie would come to our aid and hang, draw and quarter people. Okay, any questions? No? Lovely, let's carry on.
She was one of the six. She said got through.
by the Abbey Medical. That's Fruit and Burgesses.
Okay, so you'll see here we have John Mason's school. Sir John Mason was actually did a lot of work in London. He was an official in London. He was part of the judiciary. He held post as an MP for a period of time, and he was a big landowner in Abingdon as well. And he was made the master of the Fraternity in 1553. So he became the master of Christ Hospital in 1553. And Christ Hospital remains to this day as a big part of Abingdon life, both as a landowner and as an organisation, as a charitable organisation as well. So that really dates us back, going back to the Abbey with the Fraternity of the Holy Cross and the Abbey. So the history of Abingdon extends vastly over many, many years, and it still holds the title. We still vie for it pretty much every 2 or 3 years as being the oldest settled settlement in England. So that doesn't mean to say we have loads of buildings, but every now and again they find something that proves that we've been settled here for the longest period of time. Colchester have it now and again, but we grab it back. So we've got a lot of history throughout Abingdon, and there's lots of hidden bits of Abingdon that nobody sees. So if anybody gets the opportunity in Heritage Weekend, which is usually in September, that's a great opportunity to go and see inside some of the buildings. So I mentioned number 26 on East St Helen Street. Also places like the Master's Room in the Long Alley almshouses. That dates back to about 1440 when it was initiated. So there's some amazing old things in there to view. Desks going back back to 1440. So really interesting. If you're interested in history, the older I get, the more interested I become, because I'm living most of it now. Then it's interesting to go and see. And also on Bank Holiday Monday, there's a lot of walks go on, which this one happens, but also there's walks about the industry of Abingdon, the canals of Abingdon, canals around the Berks and Wiltshire Canal, and various, there's 3 or 4 I think in the Hester that go on. So you want to find out more, they're a great opportunity to go and do things. But anyway, that was a small advert for Abingdon. Back to where we are on the boundary. So, and from thence by and through another public way, a little turning towards the north, until you come to a certain crooked little ditch, as though that's going to exist now, inclining towards the east, which said little ditch, together with the aforesaid public way, includes on the right hand Fitzharris Farm and a certain piece of arable land called Fitzharris Peace, and the fields, meadows and pastures called Fitzharris Closes, to the same farm belonging and appertaining, and from thence by another ditch on the right hand, also including a certain close called Pike's Close, unto the aforesaid boundary of Merestone, without the bars of the public street of the vineyard aforesaid. So we're going to the vineyard basically. And we're going down here, we're going to go through the wood, and then we're going to end up on the vineyard, and then we're going to head towards the loch. But it mentions Fitzharris and Fitzharris several times in this. And Fitzharris has got several different names, and it comes up in Fitzharris School, Fitzharris Farm, and a lot of what you see around Fitzharris School is the old Fitzharris Farm and house and that sort of thing, which doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of that comes through from there. Okay, should we head down the next bit? Let's see where oh, you're there. Quick town cry first.
Oh, yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! The Mayor of Abingdon, Thames, and his town council welcome you to this wonderful 1st of January 2020. If you're hungover, marvellous! If you wish to walk, come and join us beating the 1556 boundary. If not, join me in saying, God bless Abingdon, God save the Queen!
Wasn't that brilliant? The worrying thing is there's two of you with an echo. Okay, so here is where we deviate a little bit more from the boundary than we'd like to, but this comes back to where you'd end up going through people's houses, headed off in this direction. So what we're going to do, rather than sort of go through people's houses, we're going to cut off through the wood. So we cut it a little bit off the boundary, but not really very much. And it does stop us being prosecuted and having to clean carpets, all that sort of thing. So we're going to get up to the motte and into the vineyard. So, everybody up for that?
Yeah.
Everybody up for that?
Yeah.
Got an audience, tell.
Oh, well, there would have been, but there's
Brief stop here. We're going to move round into Penlon Way and then down onto the river by the lock, and then we'll look at the boundary stone there. Just wanted to mention also the Union Workhouse. The Union Workhouse used to be over there on that estate, and you've got it was established in 1834, and it was established under the Poor Laws, and it was in a Y shape, so it was the first of its type. Very modern workhouse. I mean, we wouldn't probably believe that nowadays, but very modern and very well thought out for the time. Designed by a guy called Samuel Kempthorne. And it was a union of various local authorities around Oxfordshire and Berkshire that created it for their particular area. So it wasn't just for Abingdon, it was for a wider area. And that's why it's called the Union Workhouse. And it had 12 acres. So the whole site was 12 acres, so it was a big site, potentially a lot of people on there. And in local terms, for some reason, it was called the Grubber. I'm still trying to find out why, but it was called the Grubber. It was demolished in 1932 and then replaced by the estate you now see, Abbott Road and Thesiger Road, and they were named after Sir Frederick Thesiger, who was an Abingdon MP at the time, and Sir Charles Abbott, who was a Speaker of the House in the House of Commons. So again, start to see some of the history and going back into some of the politics and then into the Poor Laws as well. So, the last piece of the Charter. Are you ready for this?
Yes!
I'm going to find it now. situate in the meeting together of two public ways, which there are now three, leading to the borough of Abingdon aforesaid, and from the same Merestone by and through another public way, turning towards the east, towards the River Thames, including a certain conventual close called the Covent Close, being wholly ditched and partly hedged and partly paled, and one little close called the Fraternity, and from the corner of the same River of Thames, including the same river, until the locks aforesaid. So again, basically going up into the river, up to the locks, and then we hit Culham at that point. So passports at the ready. Where it talks about the Merestone is a boundary stone. So we will actually see a boundary stone at the lock. Unfortunately, somebody in their wisdom over the years decided that it was a good place to stick a hook and eye to pull the gate back. So it's now got a hook stuck in the middle of the boundary stone. So I don't know who knows who did that over the years, but certainly it's got one. That will be an opportunity when we get there as well.
Yay! Oh, yay! Oh, yay! We are now 2/3 of the way through the boundary walk. The pub comes ever so near. I am thirsty. Are you thirsty? Yeah. Not far to go for those who are nursing hangovers, especially you. Happy New Year. God bless Abingdon and God save the Queen. Yay.
You see on the side of the bridge here, this bridge is relatively new in the last sort of 10 years. Down at the crest pieces down the bridge. So just a little bit of interest, just not a boundary thing really, but just a bit of interest. I've got to get down now.
Like the king's toe. Giving it to him. I don't think it reacted to me, I'm too foreign.
You've enjoyed it? If you've enjoyed it, my name's Patrick Bird. If not, it's Terry.
He's here all week.
Yeah, won't off along. No, seriously, thank you very much indeed. You have now secured the boundary for another year. Give yourselves a round of applause. I will now pass over to our town crier.
Once more with feeling. And this time I want you all to join in on the oh yays. There's 3 rings of a bell and oh yay times 3. You ready? Right. Oh yay! Oh yay! I want to hear you at the back. Oh yay! The Mayor of Abingdon on Thames and his council, thank you for your fearless efforts of securing the bounds of our town for another year.
Hooray!
As promised, The pub is nigh. A short walk that way. Up the stairs, turn right, second pub. The Broad Face. We'll be heading there now, where there should, at this time, still be Morris dancers, if you're into that kind of thing. But thank you once again, and before you go, for the Mayor's charities, not for my beer consumption, I promise you, please dig deep. Thank you, have a happy new year. See you again for 2021. Thank you.
And bear in mind, if you walk down this side, you're in Culham. So have your passports ready.
And I hope you've had your tetanus shots. Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, we'll enjoy it.
Oh, thank you so much. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yes, shall we go this way?
There you are. You're 1 year. No, you take it.